Hey everybody, Star 6 Wars 1 here, and welcome to the next Anime Extras. For this one, I'm going to be discussing the ending of Gurren Lagann. I think this goes without saying, but I'll say it anyways. So if you have not seen Gurren Lagann, I recommend waiting till you've seen it to see this video. With that said, let's begin. Before we go too deep into the ending of Gurren Lagann, I'd like to take focus into two other specific parts to Gurren Lagann, though both are sort of related to the ending. The first of these is actually Gurren Lagann's first scene, with a mysterious man and his crew on a spaceship fighting against an unknown enemy. Now, much later in the series, we learn that the ship is Cathedral Terra, aka the ship Simone and Team Daiguren used to fight the anti-spirals. We also can tell, at least by near the end of the series, that the man is Simone by his attire and voices. By voices, I mean sub and dub. I checked both languages just to make sure of this fact. What's interesting is that in the first scene in Gurren Lagann, Simone mentions that the stars are now humanity's enemy, and he will use spiral power to erase them all. And it looks like from that prologue that we will get a how did they get there story. The thing is, that never happens, or is mentioned ever again, even after finding out about Simone and Cathedral Terra. Fans made up the theory that it's an alternate universe where Simone ignored the anti-spiral's final warning and created the spiral nemesis. The creators would use this theory afterwards. However, I think that the prologue was actually supposed to be the end of Gurren Lagann instead of the ending we actually got. To back up this opinion further, both sub and dub use the older Simone voices instead of the younger ones, on top of the previously mentioned Cathedral Terra. If this is the case, I'm unsure as to why they changed it, but then again, we wouldn't have some of the best episodes of the series, so I don't think it's a bad thing if my theory is correct. Either way, it's a mystery why the prologue is the way it is. Another thing I wanted to get into is a place where I feel like Gurren Lagann could have ended. At the end of episode 15, the battle with Lord Genome has ended in victory for Team Daiguren, and everyone's happy and satisfied and wondering for the future. Honestly, it felt very satisfying, and if they had changed a bit of the dialogue, they could have ended Gurren Lagann right there. Most everything that needed to be resolved was resolved, and it probably would have been satisfying. However, again, if they did end it there, we would miss out on some of the best episodes of the series and the ending of the series. So it's a trade-off of sorts. Now that I've explained those 2 points, let's actually start this discussion of the ending with the final battle at the beginning of the last episode. Nia has just been reunited with Simone and the remaining members of Team Daiguren after breaking out of the multi-dimensional labyrinth thanks to the efforts of Kamina. Now face to face with the anti-spiral, they proclaim their intention to end this long fight between the spiral and anti-spiral. Then create Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann, a giant mech the size of roughly 100 Milky Way galaxies to combat the anti-spirals who created their own mech called Granzi Boma, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, a dark mirror of Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann, to combat them on equal ground, so that their defeat would cause the team absolute despair. Their battlefield is a pocket universe where spiral power and thought are given form, and so this is where their final battle begins. From there, they attack each other with their mechs, throwing galaxies at each other, and when it looks like the anti-spiral goes for the Earth, it is stopped by Team Daiguren. Then he literally weaponizes a Big Bang to destroy Team Daiguren with creation itself. But as they are hit with it, Lord Genome sacrifices it to give Team Daiguren the edge they need to defeat the anti-spiral. As Simone deals the final blow to the anti-spiral asks Simone to protect the universe, and Simone says he and humanity will. because humanity isn't that stupid. And with that, the Pocket Universe is destroyed with the destruction of both giant mechs and the anti-spiral. And with that, the victory of Team Daiguren. Sometime after their victory, Team Daiguren returns to Earth with Nia, and soon after, Nia and Simone get married, with their friends attending the wedding. Tragically, however, Nia dies as she was a virtual life form made by the anti-spirals, and with their death, she can no longer live without them. However, she dies satisfied and with a smile on her face. After she dies, Viral makes the comment that he was surprised she held on as long as she did. And in the movie, it is revealed that she survived that long on sheer will alone. Gimme then makes the comment that, why doesn't Simone just bring back Nia and everyone else who died using spiral power? Yoko comments that Simone isn't God. Well, Simone comments, those who are dead, and if we brought them back to life, they get in the way of the next generation, right? Then after giving up his position of being leader of Earth, Simone comments that he's just Simone the Digger, and someone else is more suited to go down the tunnels he dug, as he leaves Rossiu in charge of Earth, and Gimme with Gurren Lagann's core drill. He takes his cape, while Yoko tosses his ring to Nia. He leaves to parts unknown. We then cut 20 years later to see what everyone is up to now. Rossiu is now the president of Earth, with Liron and him chatting about an upcoming peace conference of the spiral races, and the potential of Simone watching over them. Yoko returning to her island, where she was during the second half, continuing her work with the next generation of humans. Gimme and Dari being Gurren Lagann's pilots, Viral being the captain of Super Galaxy Daiguren, Cathedral Terra, if any of you were wondering what it was called after they captured it. We see Kamina's grave along with Nia's grave covered with flowers. And the last scene of Gurren Lagann is a boy trying to open a coconut with a drill, but being unable to open it. Then a man shows up, tells him how to use the drill, and then they both see Gurren Lagann leave Earth. And the boy wanting to know if he will one day go with them. And the man comments, he will, cause the lights in the sky are stars. And some light reveals that the man is an older Simone. And Buta shows up a little bit too. Then he says the final words of the series. Yeah, they are stars. Stars where our spiral cousins are waiting for us. And with that, Gurren Lagann ends. Oh man, what an ending it is. I'm gonna begin with my thoughts on the final battle between the Anti-Spiral and Team Daiguren. To put it simply, it is the most ludicrously awesome final battle in all of anime. I mean, where can you find an anime with mechs literally the size of 100 galaxies, throwing galaxies at each other, and having a universe be their battleground, with the Big Bang being weaponized, and having it being blown into the faces of our heroes with the hellfire of creation? It is so ludicrous, but awesome at the same time. And the way they end the battle just completes everything, making my favorite final battle in all of anime. Next, let's look at the wedding and subsequent events in there. I like the wedding. It's very sweet and something we've been looking forward to since the beginning of the second half. That said, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a fan of Nia's death. I find her death unnecessarily sad and tragic when I don't think it really needed to happen. Though maybe it's because I really like the character. However, I still don't like her death regardless. However, what I do appreciate is the fact that even if I don't like that they killed her, that she remained dead along with the other characters that died in the series. When Gimme questions why doesn't Simone revive them all, and given the Spiral's abilities in the series, it's not that far-fetched to say that it can bring back the dead as well. However, they took a better route, I feel, as while Gurren Lagann's message is to do the impossible and never give up on things, another of its messages is to move forward if things are tough, best exemplified by the Simone becoming a man scene and accepting of Kamina's death and final words in episode 11. And this scene is no exception. Simon is very sad, you can tell, but he knows he has to move forward and can't dwell on the what ifs, should haves, or if onlys. Instead, focus on what's important. Simon shows great maturity here, as when he was younger and didn't learn the lessons he did in the series, I feel he would have done this and caused who knows what. Could have been the Spiral Nemesis for all we know. To make a long story short, I don't like Nia's death, but I do like the message that comes from it. To finalize this video, I'd like to go into the 20 years later epilogue and focus on the characters I feel are worth talking about. First, I really do like the where are they now idea they have, and found it a very nice addition. I know there are many people who don't like Rossiu, and I bet there were people who were probably angry he's the president in the epilogue. To be honest though, I never really hated Rossiu, as I think his line of thinking would have been better suited in a show like Code Geass or that sort of thing. I found that his character just was not in the right anime for his line of thinking, aka he was put in the wrong show. So I'm not bothered by him becoming president in the end, and he went through some changes near the end that helped with that transition as well. Then we have Yoko, who is still either teaching kids or is now the principal of the school we saw earlier in the second half. We see she has aged quite a bit. Now, whether you think she is living a happy life or not is up to interpretation. On one hand, she seems not to have a significant other and could be seen as rather lonely. On the other hand, and my personal belief, is that it doesn't matter as she's doing what she wants to do in seeing the next generation grow and helping them along with that. Helped is the smile that she has on her face when we do see her, but that's just how I see it. With Viral being the captain of Super Galaxy Dai Gurren, I love the decision, and it makes a nice reward for all the crap he went through in the series, and it looks like he got his spunk back, which really helps as well. I'd comment on Liron, Gimme, and Dari, but I don't feel it's worth it as we only see Liron talk with Rossiu, and that's it, and all we see of Gimme and Dari are being Gurren Lagann's pilots. Nothing really more, and it's just one exchange of dialogue. So beyond that, there's nothing worth talking about with those three. Now let's take a final look at Simon, where he helps a boy with opening a coconut by telling him how to use a drill. When the boy comments he's awesome, he's just about to comment, "Of course it worked. Who the hell do you think I am?" But once he notices the boy's not paying attention, he sighs and then smiles and says, "I guess I'm no one." If this was the beginning of the series, he would have been very saddened by this. But here he looks more content with just being him and no one else important. I also like how he encourages the boy that one day he will go up there as the lights in the sky are stars, where the Spiral Cousins are waiting for them. If I may say, I like the conclusion of Simon's character here. In the beginning, he liked making tunnels and drilling, but was often frowned upon by his peers except for Kamina, and had very little self-confidence in himself. Now he's content with his life and how it's gone, and is ready to keep moving forward. He's also a lot more confident in himself and knows what he is. I feel that his evolution in his character is one of the best things in Gurren Lagann, and I actually like how they ended his character. While he may be just Simon the Digger, he's content with that and accepting of it. He's just a great character overall. Overall, I actually really like Gurren Lagann's ending. There's a lot to it. I like the messages of accepting yourself for who you are and to move forward even when things are tough. And I love how it concludes Gurren Lagann. I love Gurren Lagann in general, and that won't change anytime soon. Anyways, that's all from me. This has been Star 6 Wars 1, and I'll see you guys next time.